A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Solidus and whether or not he would have been proud of Raiden as his son. We went through Solidus's politics and the things he valued and measured Raiden up against them, though we excluded MGR's Raiden. So today, we're analyzing MGR Raiden to see if he became the kind of son Solidus would be proud of. And if you missed the previous video on whether or not Solidus would be proud to call Raiden his son, I'll have it linked in the description below. Just a heads up, this video will have spoilers for Metal Gear Rising. While you're here, if you enjoy game and character analysis that revolves primarily around Metal Gear Solid, please subscribe. Also, we just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. I am so grateful to have been able to hit this milestone, and I just want to say thank you so much. Okay, first, let's really quickly go through what Solidus valued and what he was fighting for. Solidus was fighting to secure his legacy. He's a clone of Big Boss, designed to take his place as a figurehead within the Patriots. Because he was meant to be a tool for the Patriots to use, they designed him to age rapidly and without the ability to have kids. His rapid aging and infertility meant that if he betrayed the Patriots or fell into the wrong hands, Big Boss's genetic material, the soldier genes he was cloned from, wouldn't be able to be used by anyone else. It was a failsafe to protect Big Boss's genetic property. These failsafes also meant that Solidus had less time to make his mark on the world, and also couldn't pass his memes onto his genetic progeny. Both of these things bothered him, and so he crafted a pseudo-son out of Raiden. Because Solidus had failed and betrayed the Patriots, they planned to erase him both physically and from all of history. The second thing we need to talk about with Solidus is that he's fighting for freedom, civil rights, and opportunities for the American people. He admired the Sons of Liberty from the American Revolution, who fought for the same things. The Sons of Liberty were a loosely connected political organization that resisted the crown taxes and laws. Solidus agreed with the values of the Sons of Liberty so much that he named his own organization after them. Like the Sons of Liberty resisted the crown back in 1765, Solidus resisted the Patriots' new regime and systems for information control. He saw these systems as a restriction of freedom and civil rights. Along with the Sons of Liberty, Solidus also revered George Washington. Much like George Washington had fought to liberate America from the crown, Solidus also wanted to liberate America from the Patriots. Something to note about George Washington is that he disagreed with political parties and thought that they would only serve to divide the nation. He advocated for a system of government where several states unite under a central authority. It's obvious Solidus agreed with George Washington as he named his two blades Democrat and Republican, bringing the two parties together symbolically as he fought to liberate America from the oppressive Patriots. Okay. So that's Solidus. He's fighting to destroy the Patriots and liberate the American people from their oppressive information control. He's desperate to make his mark on history and leave a legacy and can't do that in the traditional ways like by having a kid. Let's look at MGR Raiden next. In our previous video, we asked if Raiden could be considered a son of liberty. Can MGR Raiden still be considered a son of liberty? MGR takes place after the threat of the Patriots, so Raiden's focus shifts from trying to liberate America from the Patriots to protecting the weak. The weak take the form in children whose brains have been harvested and then trained to pilot cyborg bodies to work as soldiers. These brains are going to be subjected to VR training based on Solidus' child soldier training regimen in Liberia, the same training regimen he'd put Raiden through when he was just 6 years old. I wonder what Solidus would have thought of that. Desperado using his training tactics. Would he be proud or approve of their methods? Or would he see it as a watered-down, cookie-cutter version of what he'd done, like how Snavid sees soldiers using BVCQC in MGS4? Can you truly adopt a training regimen without the guidance of the master? Also, why does Desperado remember Solidus and respect his methods, but MGS5 couldn't even bother to mention him in its end credit timeline? I will be salty about that until the end of time. Raiden ends up following a trail of events that led him from saving hundreds of children from this sad fate all the way up to opposing a senator who intended to emulate Liquid's version of Outer Heaven, where the strong prevail over the weak. This obviously clashes with Raiden's desire to protect the weak, so he fights Senator Armstrong to stop him. Senator Armstrong believes his plans would jumpstart America's economy while also creating a land of the truly free, where people would lead by their strength and not through weak committees. Obviously, a country like this would serve the needs of the few, not the many, as only those strong enough to take would get what they needed. Solidus wouldn't have agreed with a country run like this. Solidus was all about George Washington, who believed in people coming together under a strong central government for the betterment of all the states. Raiden rejecting Senator Armstrong's viewpoint and preemptively taking him out before he could do more damage to America or be elected as president would have made Solidus proud for sure. The Sons of Liberty fought for freedom, civil rights, and opportunities, and Raiden taking out Senator Armstrong for sure protected those things for the American people. So I would say Raiden could still be considered a Sons of Liberty. Let's take a look at legacy next. Does Raiden leave a legacy? Does he even care to? Well, Raiden ditches out on his son and Rose, so as far as his kid goes, he isn't there to raise him and instill his memes into him. What about leaving a legacy though? Who else does Raiden influence, and will his memory live on through them? Raiden saves hundreds of children from being turned into soldiers, and his connections to Maverick and Doctor organize things so that the kids can get an education and get work when they come of age. The future is much brighter for them, and I'm sure they won't soon forget the cyborg ninja who fought for them or the help they received from Doctor to turn their futures around. Not only does Raiden influence these kids, but he influences the company he used to work for, Maverick, too. Once a private security provider, they now involve themselves in charity work for the betterment of these kids, so Maverick is better for knowing Raiden too. Lastly, we have George. Although George wants to be a cool ninja like Raiden, Raiden tells him,
"Killing isn't fun and games. Remember that."
Because of Raiden's words, George instead stays with Sunny and helps her out with her work. One other thing I want to mention. Solidus tells Raiden right before their battle,
"Unless you kill me and face your past, Jack, you will never escape. You'll stay in the endless loop, your own double helix."
MGR is the first time Raiden really fights to accept himself, Jack the Ripper and all. Instead of using his nanomachines to inhibit Jack the Ripper, he lets that part of him out and uses it as a tool to fight for the weak. He accepts that killing his enemies feels good, but he restricts his enemies to those truly doing wrong in the world. Senator Armstrong tells Raiden,
"You should try fighting for what you believe in sometime, Jack."
But the thing is, Raiden is fighting for what he believes in. He quits his job and resolves to break the law, only Denver, Colorado has laws, to fight for the rights of these children. Earlier in MGR, Raiden proclaims,
"I won't sit by while they butcher little kids and ship their parts around like meat. It's sick."
Although I don't think Solidus would have had a problem with what World Marshal was doing, Raiden is taking a firm stance on something, and Solidus would be proud of that. Raiden leaves his mark on history. He embraces his past and uses it to remind himself what and who he fights for. He protects the weak and fights anyone who would divide America's people or threatens their freedom or civil rights. He may not have stuck around to help raise his own son, but he liberates hundreds of children from the situation he was in back in Liberia when he was 6 years old, and ensures they have a brighter future than he was ever afforded. He influences his coworkers and friends positively, and encourages them to embark in charity work of their own. No one is forgetting Raiden anytime soon. He chooses to wield his sword as a tool of justice and uses his inner demons to protect those who can't protect themselves. Although Solidus and Raiden may not have seen eye to eye on everything, taking MGR into account, Solidus would have been proud to call Raiden his son. And that's all we have for if Solidus would be proud of Raiden as his son. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Please like, subscribe, it helps the channel out. Join us in Discord, we're always talking about MGS. More importantly than all of that though, please take care of yourselves, and I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you.